Fiqh's booklet, 49 Questions, contains the following translation of this passage. The Ishwish is not worthy of worship and adoration, as these are exclusively intended for creation. The Prophet is not worthy of worship and adoration, as these are exclusively intended for creation. The Prophet's highly evolved spiritual guides are not worthy of worship and adoration for, once again, these are exclusively intended for creation. The creation is infinite power, of immeasurable size and immeasurable secret, and no human power may come near to it. The OM introduction explains further that the title JSCHWJSCH was brought to earth millions of years ago, and it was always associated with leadership and the goodness. But unfortunately, among the space travelers were also elements who wrongly raised themselves as Chshs without being qualified and developed as such. They indulged their desire for power, and behaved accordingly. They gave themselves new titles that the people of Earth would understand. They gave themselves the titles of powers that should belong to creation. Creator was the closest title that was most plausible to the Earth people, and so they let themselves be called this, and celebrated as such. From there it was only a small step to receiving praise and worship. The falsification of the title JSCHWSCH, so that it came to mean creator, was fully successful along with the associated consequences. OM says that neither the Ishwish nor the Prophet exercise force or coercion, nor do they teach that force and coercion, power and force, should be exercised. Neither are they punishing, nor do they order punishment. But gods and idols demand subordination and humility before them, and they create force and coercion, and therefore exploitation and enslavement through angst and fear, which results in the subjugation and breaking of the will in the case of independent and self-determining thoughts and behavior. OM explains that the role of the genuine Ishwish is in accord with the laws and directives of creation, because one of the laws of creation, as explained in Canon 6, is that every herd requires a lead animal, every army needs a leader, and every people requires a wise leadership. And so every humankind requires a wise, knowing king, a king of wisdom, who is developed in love, obligation, cognizance and advice-giving. On the 12th November 2003, Ishwish Pratha said that Iraq will only have peace when the US, the English and the UN powers pull out of the country. If this doesn't happen, then not only numerous lives will be lost by the military, but also UN personnel, diplomats, members of aid agencies, terrorists, suicide assassins, innocent women, children, men, reporters, tourists, and also guerrilla fighters who positioned themselves to defend against the occupying forces. Patha explains that the USA spreads itself like noxious vermin over the world. The United States of America must withdraw its military from where it has spread itself around the world in its push for world domination. It must pull back into the United States. England should also withdraw, and Israel must give the Arabs their land back. He says that through these actions alone can international terrorism be quieted and defeated. And it's all the same whether the terrorism comes from the United States of America, England, Israel, or the known terrorist organizations. Scroll to bottom of this article for context of excerpts from Patha. The Ishwish is the wisdom king of the humankind of three worlds. So he is the highest spirit leader over various different humankinds, who are living on different worlds, while the Prophet is the highest spirit leader over the humankind of any one world. The Ishwish is the only Ishwish for the earth humankind and for the far travelers out of the depths of the universes, who are there as his helpers and guardians. Amongst human beings there is nothing of equal form to the Ishwish. He is the instructor for the Prophet and for the humankind. The Ishwish isn't simply given his knowledge, wisdom, ability and love. He, along with all other life, must let the cognition germinate through his own power and effort. And so the Ishwish is knowing, able, wise and full of love through his own power of cognition. And the Ishwish was not dispatched by creation but came through his own will. And this is so for the prophet too. A human sends himself as a teacher to his own kind when he is sufficiently developed in cognition, is knowledgeable in good measure and able, and is therefore a spirit leader and feels that from within himself he is called as a spirit leader. He requires no calling and naming from a higher watch because there is no higher watch. In OM Canon 20 the Ishwish is instructing the prophet. He tells the prophet he must teach the people that the Ishwish and the prophet do not have all the wealth of knowledge, ability, love, truth and wisdom of the creation, because the treasures and secrets of creation are immeasurable and never comprehensible for a human. This is because the creation is the immeasurable secret. In a creational sense there exists no hierarchy among life forms, and therefore this applies with the prophet and the Ishwish, and it also applies between different life forms to the creation. But the Ishwish can gather greater experiences than the prophet, so the Ishwish is like a father friend to the prophet whose greater wisdom and experience organizes the prophet. People express frustration or cynicism at the fact that, although hundreds of daytime photos and film clips exist of the extraterrestrial craft visiting Billy Meier, the current Pleiadian do not let themselves be seen or photographed. The Pleiadian have explained to Billy Meier why this is, and reasons are also laid out in OM. Because the Ishwish is a physical human being, he can, of course, be touched and seen, but he guards against being seen or felt by any people who still require instruction in the laws and directives of creation. This is because he does not tolerate worship and adoration, nor does he desire it. There are people who erroneously seek to worship and adore the Ishwish, the prophet and their helpress, and so the prophet and the guards and helpers of the Ishwish also refrain from moving about directly among the people. Canon 7 explains. Therefore the Ishwish remains invisible and ungraspable to people who still require the instruction in the laws and directives of creation. And so do all those who are under the Ishwish's orders, who are the helpers and the guards. This is so that the people still requiring instruction do not lean towards worship and adoration. And so the human only becomes knowledgeable about their existence through understanding and reason, through knowledge, truth, love and wisdom. In the same way the human must also gain knowledge concerning the existence of creation. This requirement to learn through our own efforts, inquiry and reason is also stressed in an explanation for why the Ishwish and the prophet don't provide signs to convince people. We must become knowing only through searching for the truth inside ourselves. Of course, as mentioned, there has been a mass of evidence of the comings and the goings of the Pleiadian in their ships, not to mention what they have left behind in the form of information which could not reasonably have come from Earth sources.